Today on the Untitled channel, we are going to feature an awesome engineer, Lodrina Masiyazi. Lodrina is an awesome engineer. I've known Lodrina for a long time, and she will take us through her engineering journey, why she chose to do engineering, and some of the hurdles that she has to overcome on her journey. So enjoy the video, and over to you, Lodrina.
Hi, I am Engineer Lodrina Masiyazi. I am an industrial and manufacturing engineer. I come from the city of Bulawayo, which is the second largest city in Zimbabwe. It actually formerly was the industrial capital of Zimbabwe. I currently now reside and work in Harare, Zimbabwe, which is the capital city of Zimbabwe. How did I get to study engineering? It really stemmed from encouragement from my father, who, when I was in Form 4, and I was actually bent on pursuing an arts oriented career as a lawyer, he actually was like, no, 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 no. You are good as a scientist. You think like a scientist. And most of the stuff you do, it's all sciencey. So you should go for sciences. And it's not even that he was a scientist himself, because he was also in an arts oriented profession. But based on what he saw in me, he encouraged me down that path. And it was at that point that I said I wanted to be an engineer. And it also helped that I was also in love with maths, based on my mother being a mathematician. So she taught us most of the mathematics we know and helped us and encouraged us to fall in love with maths. So I was interested in a lot of mathematics and mathematical formulations, and hence becoming an engineer was pretty what I expected to happen. So when I was in Form 4, I decided I was going to be an industrial engineer, and that was my goal, and that's what I eventually studied and became. On top of that, in terms of interest in engineering, but probably more broadly technology, it came at the age of 12 because my father allowed me to work with him when he was working on fixing the cars and doing different things. So that in itself also helped in a big way in encouraging my path in engineering. I studied my industrial manufacturing engineering degree at the National University of Science and Technology, which is a science and technology university in Bulawayo. It was a 5-year degree program, and there was a lot of content to absorb, but I enjoyed most of it. I have to confess, there was a year, which I think it was in between my second and third year, when I came very close to quitting because I was like, this is just too much stuff. But with the encouragement and with the support that I got from family and friends, I stuck with it. And I'm grateful that I did, because at the end of the day, it achieved the goal of me becoming a fully fledged industrial engineer. My typical day is very dynamic. I work in an incubation and innovation hub. So a lot of the work that I do is management oriented. There's not a lot of input that I put in terms of actual engineering work that is hands on. But in terms of engineering management and overseeing engineers as they work and the different work that they do, the projects they embark on, I actually am quite, in touch with that. And it's pretty much the sum of what I do in a day. I've had to learn a lot of skills like marketing and selling so that I can hone my own negotiating skills when it comes to negotiating for tenders, deals, contracts that come into play. So it plays a big role in what I do day to day. So yeah, there's a lot that gets done. I can't really say I have a routine that I follow because by it being an innovation hub, there's a lot of new stuff that comes in. There are a lot of projects that are going on in different aspects. The role that I actually serve at the moment is within a management role for business and intellectual property. I happen to have qualifications in those two areas, and that helps in the decision making that I have to do, and also in terms of giving direction to the teams that are working within the hub, and also in dealing with clients who come in. In terms of challenges that I face, as an engineer, I suppose most female engineers, they face the challenge of most people not anticipating that the engineer is female. So that is a very interesting circumstance when it happens, though I have to confess it's not happening as often as it used to. I think slowly people are getting used to seeing female engineers. They're more visible now, but there still are situations where people say, this is a female engineer. That's new. The other challenge that I face is people probably being surprised because I'm small and they say I don't look like an engineer. So it does present challenges when you're called in to make a presentation or you're meeting clients for the first time. They might be slightly taken aback because they are not expecting me. And you'll find that the general understanding is an engineer should be a man, sometimes more specifically, a big man, commands a lot of aura of power and things like that. But I can say females can do the same in terms of commanding what needs to be done in engineering. What I would actually say in terms of overcoming those challenges would be what my mother said to me. And she said, when you walk into a room in a professional setting, have the mindset of you are an engineer. Don't think, oh, I'm female or male, but say, I'm an engineer and I'm going into this as an engineer and I'm going to deal with things as an engineer. So that has helped a lot in terms of overcoming some of the paradigms of how people perceive who an engineer is and how an engineer should look like. It's also important that one has to be assertive. So it's good to also polish up on your communication skills in terms of how you speak, speaking in a measured way, try not to get emotional. It was something I used to struggle with when I was younger. I would get emotional to the point that I couldn't speak. But I was mentored to, in terms of how to handle such situations. And the recommendation was, if you're too emotional, don't say anything. Just wait until you're not emotional so that you can answer in an objective manner. And that has helped in a big way. And I believe I've improved significantly since then. In terms of last words or parting words, I would actually say, what I would say to my younger self is be more confident, be more assertive, volunteer more. It's okay if you feel scared. It's okay if you don't feel you've got 100% of the skills that are required, but go for it. Especially if you're interested in it, go for it. And that's one thing that I would advise anyone who is within or starting an engineering career, engineering studies, or engineering profession. The second thing that I would recommend is have goals. So have weekly goals, monthly goals, and if you're able, have yearly goals as well. But pursue those goals. Have the goals anyway. Having goals gives you a bit of direction. It keeps tabs on your own development, because it's very easy to get so busy. And then when you're looking over what you've accomplished, it might not even be what you want to accomplish. So it's important to have goals so that you keep yourself in track of what needs to be done. And the final thing that I would probably say is, it's okay if you don't have things figured out. You will figure it out eventually. Just make sure that when you're applying yourself to the work that you do it with quality, try and do your job exceptionally. And whether you're going for a business that you're building from scratch, or you're taking over a company, or you're entering into the job field, try and make sure you're going after it, not just based on the money that you're going to make, but also based on what skills you're going to develop, what you're going to learn, what you're going to contribute, what it's going to make of you in character. That's very important in terms of your professional development. So it's very key to go after things based on what they will make of you. And with that, I conclude what I have to say. I thank you very much for listening to this, and thank you, Engineer Makumbe, for giving me this opportunity. I would advise all of you subscribe to her channel. It's really awesome. And also join her readers list in her upcoming book, Tech Girl, which is a super awesome volume that's coming up and actually details out experiences that are faced by engineers, particularly female engineers across the board. Otherwise, that's it from me for now. It's really late. Most of my work days, they start early and end late. But I once again want to just say thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your day, whichever time of day you're in. Bye.